Okay, so as we move into the next stage of this recording, I pulled some cards off camera. And I pulled some cards because I was tapping into what we were supposed to be covering next. And, well, let me just tell you what I'm being shown. Um, I'm being shown who's here. So, as I mentioned at the start of this video, there is Archangel Michael, Archangel Sandalphon. I can see Metatron standing behind the two of them, and then I'm being shown like the whole contingent. They're reminding you that there is a contingent of angels there. I'm also shown right now that we're looking from a perspective above. And by above, I mean off planet above. It's a galactic perspective. To the left is Commander Ashtar. There are also two representatives. They're Andromedan beings, and I've worked with them quite a lot before. And I smile because they're very excited to be here and to be helping us. And we also have a lovely being who is Lyran, who is here as well. Now, these people, these beings, they are part of what we collectively call the Zarahne Collective. Ashtar is saying that people get the name wrong. A lot of people in the spiritual community talk about Ashtar Sharan, S-H Ashtar Sharan. And that's not actually what they've been trying to convey for all of these years. Ashtar has been trying to bring forth the Zarahne Collective, and no one's ever tapped into that. So what they're showing us right now is that, from this higher perspective, they're saying what's happening right now isn't as big as everybody's making it. And it's probably why the spiritual community is not up in arms about what's happening in December, because it's not such a big deal. It is part of the timeline that we're on, and they're reminding you that they're here to help and support and guide, and that we can tap into the energies that are here. They're showing now that they're going closer. We're closer than we've ever been before, because we're here to help. We're closer. We've always been here. We've been supporting. We've been watching. We've been waiting. And we're coming closer than we ever have. They want to address the fact, they're reminding me of something that I laugh at the moment. I laugh thinking that so much of humanity is looking up to the skies, waiting to be shown UAPs or outer terrestrial beings. And there's another contingent of humanity who's looking up to the skies, looking for the second coming of Jesus. And I think they're both wrong. And the group is smiling a little bit right now, going, yeah, they're a bit wrong. When it comes to the galactics, there are a number of beings, and we're getting more and more open, so more and more people can tap into this and be able to converse openly with them. You don't need to channel to do it. But they're saying that it's no longer the realm of a few. It's opening up more and more to everybody. But they're showing me the analogy now of a radio, and how with a radio, and you spin the dial, and you have to get to the right frequency before you can hear and understand the wavelengths coming through. And they're saying that the planet is leveling up. We're ascending. We're ascending the vibration, the frequency of the planet, the frequency of humanity is rising. But it's not yet risen enough that the majority of galactic beings can actually be here on our plane. It is still a heavy, dense plane that some of these beings, in 5, 16, 9D, 12D, etc., they can't physically be here. So they're saying, remember, it's not about us coming to save you. You have to save yourselves. Okay, so right now I'm hearing a reminder that this was always part of humanity's journey. The job is not done yet. The job is not done, and we know this. There's more coming. We were put here to be part of the change. We were put here to be part of the ascension process. Archangel Michael wants to address my comments earlier about the pitchfork. He knows I like to have my pitchfork analogy. But he's saying even in some ways the pitchfork analogy is wrong, because one of the key frequencies that humanity needs to let go of before we can ascend higher is the warring mindset, the warring mentality. And that my pitchfork analogy still holds the energy of war. And he's so right. We need the energy of compassion. We need the energy of forgiveness. We need the energy of strength. He's saying strength, strength above all else. And he's showing me a big beam of golden light, bright golden light coming down from above, straight through our crown chakra, straight through our spine, allowing us to sit strong and firm and to ground our feet to the ground. He says, this is your greatest weapon. This is your greatest asset. And you've had it all along. You have had it all along. I'm being shown right now the planet, and I'm being shown ley lines. The team's reminding us that the poles are shifting, ley lines are moving as well, and I wasn't aware of that. They're saying some of the ley lines are moving, that the chakras of the planet, Gaia herself has chakras, and they are located all around the planet. One of them, I think the heart chakra is in the UK, is at Glastonbury, I can't remember. But those are moving as well. Those are moving as well. And I've always questioned my spirit guide team as to why is Australia so devoid of spiritual elements, spiritual areas? And they've always said it's for safety. It's for safety. And right now I'm hearing the word sleeping giant. Australia is a sleeping giant. We have a huge awakening community here, and we have some of the strongest willed beings on this earth living here in this country. And we deliberately were put here in a place that would be under the radar for a period of time. They're saying Uluru awakens. Uluru awakens. The times that you are living through are times that you were destined to live through. Go forward without fear, go forward with strength. You have all you need, and you have all the support you need. These are coming towards the end times, but not the end times as you might expect. You are coming to the end of the battle, and the light is winning. Stay strong, stay steady. Remember, we are here for you, and the light will win. And with that, they're out, they're left. It's so strange when you do that during a video, because you come back and you're not really in the room for a minute. So let me just take a deep breath, reground myself, coming back into the room, coming back into the space, coming back into Cassandra, coming back into this vessel that I've chosen for this incarnation. All right, so everybody, I hope there were some great messages there. I did want to share some cards with you. One of the things that I was shown before I started that message was that we're on a timeline, and it's quite a highly advanced technological timeline. This is a timeline that we have been through before, and a timeline that has had some pretty detrimental outcomes. There are reasons that we don't have Lemuria. There's reasons we don't have Atlantis. There's reasons that the Tartarian Empire doesn't exist. Technology unchecked becomes a problem. And so we need to be mindful of how we use technology, and that technology does not use us. I pulled some cards with that in mind, because the spaces I was being shown were past lives from Lemuria and Atlantis, and some of those later eras in those areas where we did, particularly in Atlantis, have that higher level of technology. So I actually grabbed out some cards, and I love this deck, Beyond Lemuria by Izzy. some incredible artwork. I'd love to know how they did the artwork on these cards. So, what we got first was loving compassion. When that card came out, I wondered why. But after the message we just received, that makes total sense, doesn't it? We need to be moving from this energy of war, this energy of fight, this energy of competitiveness, because the next timeline for us is a timeline of unity consciousness. And it's a timeline of unconditional love and forgiveness, isn't it? So that's obviously why that's come up. Loving compassion. What I'm hearing them say right now is loving compassion is the first step. For us, for humans, it can be really hard to have forgiveness for others, and it can be really hard to have unconditional love. We feel like we're doing something that's putting ourselves back if we give unconditional love or forgiveness. Okay, it's like we're allowing something bad that happened to be okay because we're offering forgiveness. It's not that, but for us, for some of us, it can be quite a leap from where we are to where we need to be. So what they're saying right now is loving compassion is where we start. Okay, if we can bring that compassion and that empathy forward, and then we work on that, we grow it, and it can become what it needs to be in time. The second card that came up is third eye chakra. Third eye chakra. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but it's interesting to me the way this looks after what we've just experienced in the channel we got. This to me is giving real galactic vibes, because what I saw in my mind's eye was I was up above. The earth was below, there's a sparkly galactic sky, and I'm up above with the Zarahne collective. This is speaking to that for me. So I think what this is trying to say is you all have that ability. We all have that ability. And you just have to tap in. Bring those practices to light. Bring the practices to life. And then you can be in that space too. This is a great card. The third card that came out is Realm Bridger. Realm Bridger. And I think this is a great explanation of who we are and why we're here right now. Because this is what we are. We're the bridger of worlds. We're the bridger of timelines. We have come here with this passion in our hearts to move humanity forward onto a timeline that is a higher level, a better level, where war and all the negativity falls away, because it doesn't have to be part of our existence. So this relates to all of us that are here right now, realm bridges. That's what we're doing effectively. Then I went to the bottom of the deck to see what was there, and there was two cards that really stood out. The first was this one, Heart Chakra card. Doesn't this speak to the fact that we struggle? We struggle with forgiveness, don't we? We struggle with unconditional love. And so we need to be moving further and further within that heart chakra and opening it up more and more so we can start to hit that level of Christ consciousness that we're all trying to embody. That's why we're here. You know, second coming of Christ isn't a physical second coming of Christ. It's the rebirth of the Christ consciousness here on the planet. And the final card that we got is Beyond the Mind. Beyond the Mind. And I think that's a reminder of where we're heading, because what we're seeing is things are changing, aren't they? And we've been told things, we're getting downloads about 12-strand DNA, crystalline DNA, and the rebirth, not so much new, is it? The rebirth of the skills and abilities that we once held that are beyond the mind, beyond the mind. So they're really great cards, aren't they, that speak to where we're at and where we're going. Now, before we finish up, one other deck did call to me, and it is this one here. It is the Secret Language of Light. Beautiful box, beautiful artwork. But this one really spoke to me from the minute I got up this morning. So I thought we will just give this a shuffle live and see what comes up, see if there's any more messages here for us, and then we'll wrap up today's video. Okay, so what wants to come through today? We've talked about the social media ban. We've talked about the powers that we don't want to be anymore in charge of things on this planet. We've talked about the ascension process, and we've talked about where we're heading and where we want to be heading, that Christ consciousness, that heart-centered space, moving away from the energy of war into a real conscious, unconditional, loving forgiveness space. So what would these cards like to say to us, please? So the first card that came out is Soul Love. Doesn't need any explanation, does it? It just really says you're on the right track. And this, to me, the way this artwork comes through has such angelic energy. And it also, the two hands there in the middle really tell me Christ consciousness energy. Can you see that too? Yeah. So that's our first card. On the bottom of the deck, we have the concept we started the whole year with. The divine feminine, the rebirth of the divine feminine. That's what we're here for, isn't it? We need to bring it back. This planet has always been one of duality, but it's always been one of balance. And our planet is off balance at the moment because the divine feminine has been squashed for so long. It's been hidden, it's been infiltrated. So we need to get the balance back. Spirit sees one more card to go with that. What else do we need to know? I apologize for the light changing while I'm doing this. I actually have had a power outage and we've had quite a problem with our power. So we're having a bit of a funny fate. So I apologize for the light that keeps changing and the fact my lights aren't on behind me today. Okay, so final card. Whoop, got everything stuck together here. Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay, so the card that came out was Divine Masculine. It's the reminder for us that we don't want to go too far in either direction. Okay, too far divine masculine, we end up where we are now. Too far divine feminine isn't what we want either. The earth was always supposed to be an experience in duality. So that means masculine and feminine in balance. I'm being shown right now that yin yang symbol that I mentioned before. And it's equal, isn't it? You've got a black side with a white dot and a white side with a black dot. Because each of us is made of both. Divine masculine doesn't mean just the males on our planet. We all hold both energies and we can be within both energies. A lot of us in business actually hold a lot of divine masculine energy, and we have to really be conscious that we step back into our feminine, take time to walk in nature, be creative, to nurture others. Those things that bring us back to our feminine roots, whatever that is for you. I just gave examples for me of how I feel that I'm back in my divine roots, but yours might be quite different. But when we are in these businesses that we're in and we're very focused on, what's our next launch and what's the revenue for the business and are we viable and are we not, that's actually a very masculine space to be in. I just feel like there's something else. I feel like there's something else. Woo! She says as they all want to come out. There we go. Oh, so the final message is just one for all of us. And it says, let your light shine. Days are gone where we have to hold back part of ourselves. You're here for this experience. Live this experience. Be yourself. Be authentically you in every aspect. And bring every part of you to the table. Because it's only when you bring those parts of yourself to the table that your tribe can truly arrive. For many of you, you've reached out to me and said that you've spent your lives without soul family, that you haven't met those soul family people. I would wager a guess that that's probably because you haven't opened yourself up enough. You haven't showed who you really are. It's impossible to find you when it's all cloaked. So, let your light shine, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed the video today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode here on the Spirit Wisdom channel. I'm Cassandra Duffel.